Every year on March 8, the United Nations declares International Women's Day, and as part of commemorative activities, the Center for Journalism, Innovation and Development emphasizes the gender balance is critical for long-term development, and the media plays a major role in determining how quickly societies debunk harmful gender stereotypes and perceptions.
When reporting stories of gender-based violence, it is critical to consider the survivor's perspective. Dr. Abiola Akiyode Afolabi stressed the need of journalists adhering to strict professional standards and ethics.
The discussion about gender-based violence is a very critical discussion, knowing where we're coming from. And I think we need to applaud Nigerian women, whether they are policymakers, whether they are activists, that have pushed for laws and policies to be passed. I would move to the issue of media reportage on gender-based violence. Media plays an important role in agenda setting, with power to expand the knowledge of the public and policymakers, and that's why media is very important in this regard. The media can assist in illustrating how survivors often act as advocates and agents of change. In essence, the manner in which the media reports gender-based violence can determine the degree of importance the public and policy may accord the issue, and how solutions are railed in the issue. However, any effort to document gender-based violence for purposes of media reporting must first prioritize survivors' safety.
It is interesting that CJID has symbolically chosen to launch this handbook on March 8th, the International Women's Day, a day that is observed globally to celebrate women's achievements and or advocate for their rights. The theme of this year's International Women's Day is Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow, with a campaign to break the bias. Unfortunately, women in Nigeria and West Africa have a more dangerous challenge to tackle. They need, as a matter of urgency, to break the tenacious cycle of gender-based violence meted out to them in their homes, communities, schools, religious houses, workplaces, from people in authority who are to protect them, and as well as from the criminals that terrorism and insecurity are bred on the subcontinent.
Well-known journalist Moji Makanjuola believes that journalists have evolved into event journalists, with stories of gender-based violence being reported as breaking news with no follow-up stories. She believes that much more needs to be done in this area.
If we don't bring the journalists in, if we don't familiarize them with what we're doing, there's the possibility that we'll lose out on the visibility that is important, particularly for a subject like what we are looking at today, gender-based violence. But I'd just like to challenge us. Oftentimes, as media practitioners, we have, over the years, become what I term event journalists. We just come to an event, it's an epidemic, you report it once, and you just let it go to sleep. And I think this is what has happened with what we are witnessing here today. All we do with gender-based violence, we don't follow through with the story. Even when you do, I know there's a limitation to it because there, the media houses are, other issues, compelling issues, are competing with it. But until, of course, we make it a national menace that it is today, that we must have zero tolerance, including us together as members of the society, especially when we have the responsibility of not just being gatekeepers, but also agenda setters.
And gender equality and women's empowerment is not just the right thing to do, it's also the smart thing to do. The economic and development benefits are clear. Protecting women and girls, investing in their rights, and providing opportunities for them to prosper benefits not only their communities, but the whole country. And increasingly, far-reaching benefits of diversity and gender equality in leadership are being well recognised. But it's not just legislation and policy that affects change. The media has a critical role in this process. On International Women's Day, it is a perfect opportunity to remember the role of the media in advancing gender development.
Unveiled this handbook for humanity, specifically for humanity on this 2022 International Women's Day, that it will be the searchlight on credible reporting about gender-based violence for women, for men, for boys, and for girls. To humanity.
The media's role in the battle against gender-based violence cannot be overstated. Therefore, balanced reporting is linked to progressive and ethical journalism. Gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow is the theme for this year's International Women's Day commemoration. Adeniyi Francis, reporting for KAFTAN News, Abuja.